let me ask you something. How often do you get mad at someone? For me, that answer's a lot more than I want to admit. Because when I'm at home, I get real mad with my family sometimes. But then, I move on an hour later, I don't care. I just flip out for a second. That's what we need to learn to do. We need to learn to, if we get really mad for a second, don't hold a grudge for more than an hour or so. You need to move on. And there are friends who will hold grudges for months, and that's wrong. That was a lot of the stuff I talked about in the last video, but this one, we got some more topics to talk about. So, the next thing I'm going to talk about is politics. This one is really dumb. There are people who have so many different political opinions, and personally, I'm pretty good at understanding each side. Some people love Trump, some people hate Trump. Personally, I see both sides, and I'm pretty mixed on him. I think Trump does some good things and some bad things. But most people are one way or the other. And dear gosh, it annoys me. You know why? Here's what annoys me. I've seen this happen. Somebody would meet a random friend. You know, they'd go at the park and make a new friend. They'd meet someone. Then all of a sudden they'd start randomly getting into the topic of politics. The friend might say, "Oh yeah, I hate Trump so much." And the other friend would say, "Really? I think he does good things for the country." "Do you think he does good things? Think about all the bad things he's done." "No, I'm not being friends with you. I'm not hanging out with you anymore." Ridiculous. I mean ridiculous. You need to learn to see both sides of politics. You cannot please everyone as a politician. And this happens way too frickin' often for me. And my golly. Okay? If you meet somebody who has a different political view than you, so what? That doesn't matter. You can be friends with them. It doesn't make a difference. Okay, don't just like unfollow somebody or stop listening to somebody just because they like Trump and you hate him, or because they hate Trump and you like him. I can see both sides very easily, and we need to learn to do that as a society. So stop caring so much about people's political views and start understanding that everyone can think the way they think. And I don't want to say that exactly the way I did, because there are some opinions that people have that actually kind of, screw up the world. And my opinions I've learned from experience. But when it comes to politics, that's not experience. That's just, you can't please everyone. Because there are super wise people who love Trump, super wise people who hate him. It's all about your preference at that point. So politics are literally mainly about your preference. So it's pretty easy for me to see both sides for Trump and for pretty much any politician that goes for. So stop giving away people. So stop ignoring people just because they disagree with you in politics. That's stupid. Like I said, I don't love Trump or hate Trump. For me, I kind of love and hate him at the same time. I think I think he does a lot of good things and bad things. So I'm very in the middle with him. Next up, please be an easy person to keep friends with. Just be an easy person to hang out with. Let people hang out with you. Be nice and let people talk to you, okay? I don't know a single person in the world who forgives easier than I do, and I don't know a single person in the world who's easier to be friends with than me. I'll be friends with anyone. I don't care if we have stuff in common or not. I'm friends with anyone, and you should be that way too. I have a whole bunch of people I hang out with. Some of them I have a lot in common with. I feel like I relate to them in every conversation. Others, I don't relate to them at all, but I still enjoy hanging out with them just the same because they're fun to be with. And I think I can have fun hanging out with just about anyone. And you need to learn to do that too. You need to learn to be friends with people no matter what. Whether you have a lot of stuff in common with them or not, it shouldn't matter all too much. Also, don't care much about what other people think. This is one thing that really will make you not enjoy your life as much if you're always worrying about what other people think. But you should care about what other people think if it really bothers them. That's the only time you should care. If it really, really bothers somebody, that's the only time you care about what they think. But don't worry so much about what other people think if it doesn't harm anyone and it doesn't bother them that much, you know? People always do that. If you want to do something that you feel like is wrong, but it's not harmful and it shouldn't bother people, do it. Here's an example. I have an odd, weird, fun time putting posters around my house talking about random fun highways or random, you know, places in the world that, like, I don't travel much, I stay home, but just random places, the random things that I'm interested in. I just literally write it on a piece of paper and tape it around the house. Most people think that's foolish and that there's no point in that. But guess what? I don't care what other people think. I do it anyway because it's fun for me. You should be concerned about what you want to do, not what other people think. Live for yourself, not for others. The only time I would care about what other people think is if it really bothers them. So if somebody is really, really upset at something you're doing, that's when you gotta, you know, try to actually care about what they think. But for the most part, stop caring about what other people think so much. Oh gosh, this next one. Please, please, don't abandon your friends just because you get a boyfriend or girlfriend. I'm talking about you teenagers who are my age. When you're a little kid, you may have a boyfriend, girlfriend, but like it's not actually serious. When you become a teenager, usually you start getting serious about that stuff. But way too many people do this. If you're a boy and you get a girlfriend, cool. Hang out with her, have fun with her, get to know her. But do not abandon your friends to hang out with her. No, never. You need to hang out with your own friends that you've known and that you're friends with all the time, no matter what. You cannot just stop just because you get a girlfriend. I see this happening way too often, and it really, really upsets me. Not to my friend group. My friends aren't into girls, but my friends aren't into girls. Are probably too expensive or something. Okay, that's just me making a dumb joke. But anyway, or vice versa. If you're a girl and you got your group of girlfriends and you're all friends, you all like each other, then you get a boyfriend, please do not abandon your female friends. You need to hang out with them a lot, okay? Because I've seen this happen way too often. Oh, I have a boyfriend, so I'm going to stop hanging out with you. I'm going to pay so much attention to the boyfriend and stop hanging out with you. That is wrong. That is absolutely wrong and messed up. If you get a boyfriend, great, good for you. Hang out with him all you want. But do not abandon your other friends, okay? Having a boyfriend/girlfriend really shouldn't be all too much different from having a friend. Sure, you may talk in slightly different ways. You may, you know, flirt a bit, I guess you could say. But for the most part, nothing should be different. You know, you can go hang out with your boyfriend, girlfriend. You can go hang out with your normal friends, but you should not be only paying attention to your boyfriend or your girlfriend. You need to hang out with your other friends. Gosh, it's so bad. You know, I knew a girl at school, and she had a great group of friends. They were happy. They did everything together. They loved being friends. They were BFFs. But then she got a boyfriend, and she stopped hanging out with her girls. Why? Okay? If you get a boyfriend, you need to still care about your female friends, you girls. And you boys, same thing. You need to care about your friends when you get, boyfriend/girlfriend. That's just wrong. Speaking of boy and girlfriends, make some opposite gender friends. A lot of people don't do that, including most of my friends. A lot of my friends really don't have female friends, and for the longest time I didn't either. But recently I've got, a lot more friends who are female, a lot more gal friends. And, before I didn't really want to, but now, you gotta do it. Just try it. Because I'll tell you this. One thing that'll happen that you don't realize is when you make friends of opposite gender, you relate to them in different ways from friends of your own gender, And you need to have those friends too. And even if you don't fully relate to what they say, you gotta have fun with them. Sometimes they're a little bit of a different type of fun, and you need to enjoy both. You gotta have your boys and your girls. And I'm telling you that. I promise you. You gotta have your fun with the boys and your fun with the girls. That'll make you really, really enjoy your friends a lot. Okay? There are some people who just some boys who just like never want to hang out with girls. They only want their boys. They never want any friends who are girls. Like, come on, don't be like that. I'm telling you, you will have fun if you make friends who are girls. And vice versa. Next up. This one's mainly for boys. Stop making everything weird. Like, my golly, this thing, people do this way too much. I get that sometimes you're messing around, but it just gets annoying. Boys will say this. If they see me talking to one of my female friends, they'll say, "Ooh, Callan, you got the ladies, you got the girls." Like, come on, man, you're being annoying. She's my friend, and I can have friends who are girls. And people do that to me all the time, and it gets irritating. And stop making everything weird, you know? If you say something that's funny, or you're, like, messing around with someone, you need to stop. Like, the other person, like, you need to stop looking at that and making their jokes into something weird. My gosh, it's annoying. And also, you need to know the difference between joking and being annoying when it comes, you know. So here's an example. So this is a way I would joke. This is joking, and this is a way that's actually just annoying. And they're both same subject. So I know a boy who mostly has female friends. So one time I was talking with him, and he had all his gal friends around him, and I told him as a joke, "Yo, look at all these girls you got. You got all the ladies, man. I bet things must be real expensive for you." I told him that, and that offended him. Why? I'm just messing with you. You may think I'm being a hypocrite because I just talked about not making things weird, but there's a difference. The way I just said it is joking around, and that's perfectly fine. A perfect way to say it is, "Man, look at all these girls you got. You got all the ladies." I'm just kidding with you, man. That's the way to say it. This is what people do that's annoying. Bro, look at that Riz you got, man. I don't know. These are just my friends, man. Nah. That's what they all say. You got the ladies. Dude, these are just my friends. Nah. You got the ladies. That's what they all say. Then they go and, like, tell people, "Bro, he got Riz. He got the girls." That's annoying. Like, come on. You need to just make you can make a simple little joke for a second and then just be like, "I'm just messing with you, man." That's the way to a kid. Not go on and on and on about it over and over and over and just, like, really just, like, keep reminding them about it. It gets irritating. Okay. Next up, don't get offended or uncomfortable so easily. My gosh. Like, I feel like little kids don't really get uncomfortable the way that teenagers do it. It makes no sense to me. I get uncomfortable less now than I did as a little kid, and that's good. When I was a little kid, there were too many things that bothered me, so many things that people would say that would bother me. Now, I don't get offended or feel uncomfortable that much. I'm not sensitive. People could be mean to me, I don't really care. But I did talk in the other video, you should be nice to people. So don't let yourself become offended or uncomfortable if somebody's messing around with you, okay? So that's going to do it for this. I still got a couple more topics, but I'll make that in another video. And after I talk about the other topics, I'm going to talk about a lot of the topics individually in much, like, more detail. So, I'll see you then.